Hey guys, my name is Ron Cecil. I'm a men's life coach and co-host of the podcast, Cutting for Sign. And the reason I'm jumping on here is I wanted to talk to you about 7 different things most men do right on the verge of their life falling apart in an effort to try to get it to work. I did this for years myself. It led me to disaster in my first marriage, and it led me to almost disaster in my second marriage. I've been married now the second time for 14 years. I'm glad to say we're doing really well, but it's because I got a handle on these things in particular. So here they are, in no particular order. Number 1, acting as if everything in my life has to be perfect in order for me to be liked. So what that looks like is this mindset in action and in speech, whether it's with my family or on the job, of this wild need for perfection. That looks like trying to have everything planned out. It looks like executing things to the nth degree, but more what it looks like is losing my shit or men losing it when that level of perfection doesn't hit the mark, especially when they are making promises to people around them that, hey, this is the way the situation is going to look like. I promise it's going to do it at this level, at this way, and then not being able to do it, not hitting the mark. And when they don't hit the mark, when we don't hit the mark, we feel terrible. The second thing that men do is to work on meeting everyone else's needs but our own. If you were raised in a house like I was, where dad wasn't around, maybe you had a single parent taking care of the household, maybe there were both parents there, but one of those parents was an addict or just not really there all the way. You probably ended up with one person in your parental unit who was codependent. Like, it was up to them to make sure everything was working out. They took on all the responsibilities. They took on all the hard work and made sure everything in the house got taken care of. Everybody in the house got taken care of. Everyone was getting their doctor's appointments and parent-teacher conferences. Now, a lot of us men decide that at some point it's up to us in order to make sure that the house and the family is going to be in the right place. So we take it on ourselves. Now, in and of itself, that's not that big of a deal. But where it really starts to get awry is when we neglect our own needs and our own desires in our own world in order to do that. That's when it begins to slide out of control. So be careful, be aware of that. Notice that in yourself. The third belief is, as long as you do everything right and as long as you work really hard, everything is going to work out on your behalf. And that's just not true. Bad things happen to good people. But we set this standard internally at such a high level that when bad things, mistakes will happen, they do happen to everybody. Accidents even, right? We take it really hard. And we go into a mindset that says, well, if this is happening, if this accident happened, that must mean I'm a failure and my life is a failure. And I just need to quit. I need to give all this up. And we take it really hard. So notice that pattern in yourself, especially when you're really working hard towards something. If it's taking control of your life, this idea that if I work really hard and perfect, then everything will work out, you're really setting yourself up just for disaster. The fourth action that men do quite often when their life's starting to fall apart and they're trying to just keep it together the best they can is they hide their flaws. They really want their flaws to be under a blanket, under the rug, and they speak, act in a way that makes them sound like they've got it all. If you've been around that person long enough, you realize pretty quickly that if someone's trying to act that way, it's not true. I think part of the reason men do that, and I've done this to myself in the past, is we think by saying it out loud, it becomes the truth. right? I know someone in my life when I say, how are you doing? They just smile like, oh, everything's perfect. And I know them well enough to know that everything is not perfect. Everything is actually quite hard. So notice that perception or the need to have a perception of having a flawless life. The fifth way men try to keep their life in order is actually really counterintuitive. And it's something that men do probably more than everything else I've said in this whole list, and that is they isolate. They think, I'm not good enough to be around other men together. They've got their lives in order and I don't. And it becomes a chore. Like they're tired, we're tired. We find it very difficult to carve away the time to hang out with other men or other people. And so we isolate. We don't tell people what we're going through. We don't tell people how difficult of a time we're having. And we just end up being gone for a long time. So I want you to do this real quick, is think about the last time you hung out with your pals, like the guys in your life who are really life-giving. Not the guys in your life who you hang out with to bullshit and to numb out and to party or to just bitch and moan. But the guys who really check in with you and you check in with them. When was the last time you hung out with them? That's a good litmus test of how well your life's going. The sixth thing that men do as their life is falling apart is they avoid talking to their spouses about real issues because they don't want to have conflict. And so we would rather, I should say, not say anything. Try to keep things copacetic, try to keep things casual with our spouses because we know we don't really have the armor and the ammo that it's going to take to deal with the real shit that's going on in our life. What you're doing is just sweeping things under the rug. And most often the issue is not even the issue. The issue, your own needs aren't being met in some way. Your own life that you want isn't being pursued in some way. And so therefore everything else feels out of whack. And it is, right? You stop paying your bills, you stop talking to people, and there's the deeper issues are the things that need to be met. And the last thing that we do as men when our lives are falling apart is we love to be the kinds of guys that everybody else can rely on. We love to be the dudes that other people call and ask for help and ask for advice and ask us to volunteer. And we love to throw ourselves into. I can't tell you how many guys I've met who are coaching Pee-wee football, who are the first ones into the office and the last ones to leave. We are the ones who volunteer for the extra work. We're the ones who never complain about the kind of work that begins to encroach on our boundaries because we want to be seen and perceived as dependable and as hard workers. And when you start doing that, if that becomes a pattern in your life, you really got to ask yourself, how am I using work and being busy and being the one else depends on as a way to keep myself from dealing with the things that are really going on in my life? So if you found yourself in any one of these 7 patterns, congrats, you're super normal. But left on their own, and especially together, they will crush your life 100%. They will end your marriage, they will end your career, and worst of all, they will kill your spirit. Again, they seem on the surface like things that are good. And on their own and in the right conditions, and if you're really taking care of yourself, a lot of them could be very healthy. But when we use them as tools to numb out and to isolate and to keep ourselves from dealing with what's really going on, which mostly is a neglected self, our internal identity is being pushed to the wayside. The real us isn't getting enough time and attention and love. When we're neglecting ourselves in order to meet all those 7 needs, and take those 7 actions, it will eventually smother us. It's like a boa constrictor that gets itself around something and squeezes and squeezes. So beware, take note of those things. If that's you, here's what I want you to do. I want you to tell somebody that that's you. Tell me, you can reach out to me. You've got my contact information below. Reach out to a good friend. Reach out to some program that you might have access to. Do something today to help yourself out, guys. All right, take care, everybody. Grace and peace.